Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. I did all of the editing myself, so if it's a little it's because I don't know what I'm doing. And I also decided to dress for the occasion. I just realized too that I didn't wash paint off my hands. We'll just pretend that's not there. And no, it's not the paint for this video. It's for something else I was doing earlier. Anyway, I also wore my lovely nerdy jack-o'-lantern shirt. Normally, I also have glasses that match, as you can see, but I can't wear them with these giant eyelashes on, so I'm just blind right now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my video. It was inspired by a channel called Crafting in Mimi's World. She did this as part of a video that had a bunch of other short crafting videos in it. And I saw it and thought it was cute, and I decided to do my own version. I will link her video in the description. All right, without further ado, as they say, here's the video. I'm going to start off today by turning these florals black. I'm using my black Mod Podge, which is a technique I learned from Black Magic Craft. It's basically a half and half mixture of black acrylic paint and matte Mod Podge. I felt like this would be the best option in this case because the florals are plastic, and just putting straight paint on them, it would probably chip and peel off, whereas the Mod Podge will stick really well to the plastic. Now you could go ahead and buy black florals, but I was trying to use up some things that I had at home, so that's why I chose to paint them. And as you can see, I have my Mod Podge in this little cup. I always pour my Mod Podge out of the bigger bottles into smaller cups so that I don't get chunks in them, because I tend to get glitter and dust and who knows what else inside my Mod Podge. Next, I'm going to be hanging these up to dry, and you'll see my cool little drying rack here. That's an idea I learned from Studson Studio. It's an old cat scratcher. My cat didn't like it anymore, so now it has new life as a drying rack. Here I have some miniature jack-o'-lantern buckets from Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 4, but I'll be using 3 of them. And I'm just painting over their faces with the same black Mod Podge mixture because the printing on them isn't the greatest. It's a little bit faded and sparse in some areas, and I just wanted to make sure that their faces were nice and bright and cute. You can see here how bright and happy he looks. And I'm just showing you one that I didn't paint so you can kind of see the difference. And there they are side by side. Now I'm opening up a pack of miniature cauldrons. I'm just using one. And then I'm going to take my pliers and remove the handles from 2 of the orange pumpkins, but I will leave it on the 3rd orange pumpkin. I'm off camera here, but what I'm doing is putting a hole in the bottom of the pumpkin. It's easier to use the hot glue gun for this because mine has a precision tip on it, and it would just melt right through the plastic rather than trying to poke a hole in there. You'll see that there's another hole in the bottom. That was because the first time I made a mistake and I put it off to the side, but I realized later that to stagger them correctly, it actually needs to be in the center of the bottom. And then I'm going to be using a kebab skewer to stack these. So I'm just checking to see if that fits through, and I'm widening the hole a little bit with my pliers so that it will slide in a little bit easier. And I'll be sticking the skewer from the bottom middle of the pumpkin to one of the holes on the top where the handle used to be. I will poke a hole in the bottom of all 3 pumpkins. For the first 2, I will stack them in opposite directions using the skewer, and for the 3rd one, it just goes right through the middle on the bottom and does not need to go through the top because the handles are still on. And then you'll see right now I just dry fit them all together to make sure they look good before I move on to the next step. I'm taking some rocks that I also purchased at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fill this cauldron with it. That way this will have some weight on the bottom and won't fall over or get knocked over easily. And I'm going to take some floral foam. It is also from Dollar Tree. I just had it opened it already and used it for a previous project. And I'm going to put that in the bottom on top of the rocks. That way when I stick in my skewer, I have something to stick it to. Then I decided that I should probably paint the floral foam so that it blended in to the bottom. But it turned out afterwards, when it was all together, that you can't even see into the cauldron, so it was really an unnecessary step. I also painted the skewer for the same reason, but again, at the end you can't even see it, so I really didn't need to do that. Now I'm just dry fitting the pumpkins back on again to make sure that they look okay. And then I'm going to just lift this up a little bit so I can get my glue gun under there, and I'm going to stick some glue in to secure it to the base. I'm going to go ahead and do basically the same thing with the next one, just sliding it up the stick a little bit, squeeze some glue in there, and then squish it back down. For the third and final pumpkin, I am going to put the top on and trim down the skewer first before I glue it in place. And then I'm just showing you guys how that looks so far. I'm going to take more of the floral foam and just fill up each of the little pumpkins so that I can stick my florals in there. Hello, Spanish moss. We'll get to you in a second. This is where I realized that my base was not secure and was spinning around, so I decided to grab some super glue gel and go ahead and secure that last pumpkin to the cauldron with the super glue. Now I'm going to take my Spanish moss and just go ahead and fill each of those pumpkins so that it covers the foam and gives it a little bit of a spookier Halloween-y look. I didn't get this at the Dollar Tree. I actually have had it for 100 years and I have no idea where I got it from, but the Dollar Tree does sell different types of moss. And here's how we're looking with the moss. This is my beautiful child. Her full name is Elvirus because I love things that are dark and spooky like Elvira. And also we got her during the pandemic. So there you go. And she likes to show off her belly and get belly rubs because she thinks she's a dog. So we call her Ellie Belly sometimes. Okay, enough cat cuteness. Time to get back to this craft. So next I'm going to take these berry picks from Dollar Tree. I got the black and the orange. The black ones are a little smaller than the orange ones. And I'm just taking a toothpick and wrapping the wire around it so that I get this little spirally springy shape when I pull it off of the toothpick. I just felt like that made a cute little, detail to them. It wasn't really necessary, but I liked it, and I'm always extra. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to all of my berry picks. I end up using 6 of the orange ones and 9 of the black ones overall. I really shouldn't have filmed on my glass media mat, but I was lazy and didn't move it out of the way. And also, I can get pretty messy sometimes, so I'd rather not film on my white desk if I can help it. Maybe I'll find some white paper to film on next time. That way, if I make a mess, I won't ruin my desk. Next, I'm taking some acrylic paint in fluorescent orange, and I'm going to mix that with just some regular orange. Both of these are Arteza or Arteza, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and just mix that up. And I'm using a dotting tool to go ahead and add orange dots to all 9 of my black berries. I felt like with the black florals that I'm using, the blackberries would kind of get lost. And also, just the dots are cute and added another little detail to the whole thing. Sorry, my camera's out of focus. I'm filming on my phone, so it's not the best. Here I'm just showing you that I'm using some of the Dollar Tree stems, florals. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they get these every year for all the holidays in all different colors. And actually, it says branch. So, yes, it's a branch. And I'm just taking off the little bits off of one stick, and that actually ends up being exactly the right amount that I need. I end up using 6 pieces of this branch. And now I've taken some toothpicks out because I've realized that my branch pieces and my floral leaves are kind of weak. They're just plastic, so they don't poke into the floral foam by themselves, so they need a little bit of help. So I'm just putting some hot glue onto the end of half of a toothpick and gluing that to my florals. With these leaves, there's a hole in the bottom, so I'm just feeding the toothpick through the little hole, and then I use my glue gun to smooth out the glue blob so it's not so bulky. And I go ahead and just let that dry. And I do that for all 3 pieces of my black leaves. And then I also do the same thing to the branches. I'm just sticking them to the toothpick since there's no hole in the bottom. This was very tedious. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you had black florals, it would have been quicker than painting them. This is another one of those cases where if you had actual floral picks that could stick into the foam, this would probably go quicker. Although I'm not sure if they make picks that are this tiny. I mean, I am working on a really small scale, so maybe there's just no choice in this situation. So now that I have all of my florals onto my toothpicks, I can go ahead and start sticking them into my little pots. And I did have a little bit of trouble getting them in. I sort of regret the hot glue that I stuck in there, but I did need to keep the moss on, so basically I just solved that problem by using my pliers to help push the toothpicks down through the glue and into the floral foam. Glue strings are the bane of my existence. Oh, look, there's paint all over me. I am a mess. So I just used one of these in each pot, so I just stick that right in the center. And then I'm gonna take my branch ones and I use 2 of those in each pot, sort of on either side of the one main floral that I just stuck in. And I do go in and trim them down a bit. Some of them are a little too long, so they don't stick up the way I want. They're, can be a little floppy, or they just stick up too far and just look weird in proportion to the leaves, so I decide to trim them down. There's also a little bit of extra plastic from the manufacturing on some of them, and I was trimming them off as well. And I'm not gonna lie, this is sped way up. I took way too much time arranging these florals. I don't know why I was so meticulous about it, but it took me forever. And that's what it looks like with just the florals in there. It really looks cute just like that too. You could probably just leave it that way if you wanted. But I'm gonna go ahead and add my berries next. So I did use 2 of the orange berries for each pumpkin, and then 3 of the black berries that I put the dots on. And with a final fluff, it is complete. I'm going to insert some beauty shots, I guess you'd call them. They're not the best. I was filming in a light box, and in order for you to not see the edges of the light box, I had to hold my phone upright, which I know is a no-no, but you get the idea. It looks nice. You can see it's cute, blah, blah, blah. And I also made myself a turntable. It's a pizza pan from Dollar Tree and a ball bearing Lazy Susan mechanism, and I'm turning it with my finger, so it's a mess. It's fine. If you like this, please subscribe. I planned some other Halloween DIYs that will hopefully get filmed and put up before Halloween if I can get them done on time. And I also like to do a lot of other arts and crafts. I paint, I draw, I do mixed media art. So if that interests you, please subscribe. Be safe and happy Halloween.